What is human capital? Let's talk about it on Kyle Talks Money. The term human capital refers to the economic value of a worker's experience and skills. Human capital includes assets like education, training, intelligence, skills, health, and other things employers value such as loyalty and punctuality. As such, it's an intangible asset or quality that isn't and can't be listed on a company's balance sheet. Human capital is perceived to increase productivity and thus profitability. The more investment a company makes in its employees, the chances of its productivity and success becomes higher. An organization is often said to only be as good as the people from the top down, which is why human capital is so important to a company. It's typically managed by an organization's HR department, which oversees workforce acquisition, management, and optimization. Its other directives include workforce planning and strategy, recruitment, employee training and development, and reporting and analytics. The concept of human capital recognizes that not all labor is equal, but employers can improve the quality of that capital by investing in employees. This can be done through the education, experience, and abilities of employees. All of this has great economic value for employers and for the economy as a whole. Since human capital is based on the investment of employee skills and knowledge through education, these investments in human capital can be easily calculated. HR managers can calculate the total profits before and after any investments are made. Any return on investment of human capital can be calculated by dividing the company's total profits by its overall investment in human capital. For example, if company X invests $2 million into human capital and has a total profit of $15 million, managers can compare the ROI of its human capital year over year in order to track how profit is improving and whether it has a relationship to the human capital invested. But there are special considerations. Human capital tends to migrate, especially in global economies. That's why there is often a shift from developing places or rural areas to more developed and urban areas. Some economists have dubbed this a brain drain or human capital flight. This describes a process that keeps certain areas underdeveloped while others become even more developed. There is a strong relationship between human capital and economic growth, which is why it can help boost the economy. That's because people come with a diverse set of skills and knowledge. This relationship can be measured by how much investment goes into people's education. Some governments recognize that this relationship between human capital and the economy exists, and so they provide higher education at little to no cost. People who participate in the workforce with higher education will often have larger salaries, which means they can spend more. But if you're wondering, human capital does depreciate. Like anything else, human capital is not immune to depreciation. This is often measured in wages or the ability to stay in the workforce. The most common ways human capital can depreciate are through unemployment, injury, mental decline, or inability to help keep up with innovation. Considering an employee who has a specialized skill, if they go through a long period of unemployment, they may be unable to keep that level of specialization. That's because their skills may no longer be in demand when they finally re-enter the workforce. But where did the idea of human capital come from? The idea of human capital can be traced back to the 18th century. Adam Smith referred to the concept in his book An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of the Wealth of Nations, in which he explores the wealth, knowledge, training, talents, and experience of a nation. He suggested that improving human capital through training and education leads to a more profitable enterprise, which adds to the collective wealth of society, and thus making it a win for everybody. In more recent times, the term was used to describe the labor required to produce manufactured goods, but the most modern theory was used by several different economists, including Gary Becker and Theodore Schultz, who invented the term in the 1960s to reflect the value of human capacities. Schultz believed human capital was like any other form of capital to improve the quality and level of production. This would require investment in the education, training, and enhanced benefits of an organization's employees. But not all economists agree. Harvard economist Richard Freeman, human capital was a signal of talent and ability. In order for a business to really become productive, he said it needs to train and motivate its employees as well as invest in capital requirements. His conclusion was that human capital was not a production factor. Human capital allows an economy to grow. When human capital increases in areas such as science, education, and management, it leads to increase in innovation, social well-being, equality, increased productivity, improved rate of participation, all of which contribute to economic growth. Increases in economic growth tend to improve the quality of life for a population. And yes, you could increase your human capital. This includes more education, automating finances to improve efficiency, expanding your horizons outside of your social and workplace, obtaining more experience, increasing participation in a multitude of activities or organizations, improving your communication skills, improving your health, and expanding your network. But there are human capital risks. Human capital risk refers to the gap between the human capital requirements of a company or organization and the existing human capital of its workforce. This gap can lead a company towards inefficiencies, inability to achieve its goals, a poor reputation, fraud, financial loss, and eventually closure. To reduce and eliminate human capital risk, An organization should train, foster, and support its workforce. But hey, are you trying to increase your human capital? Comment your thoughts below. And as always, take care of your money.